Welcome in to Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thank you so much for tuning in and being here. Hopefully you've all stayed safe out there. We've got Jaguars at Eagles, a Week 4 matchup between two teams that are on fire right now. A combined 5-1. They've been outscoring their opponents. The Jaguars have 62-10 over the last 2 weeks. Eagles have only given up 2 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. Two teams, again, playing really good football. Doug Peterson returns to Philadelphia to take on the team that he led to a Super Bowl title, their first and only Super Bowl championship. A team that he took to the playoffs 3 straight years. And after just one down season in 2020, Eagles ownership and management gave Peterson the axe, fired him after just one down year. Right now, we're going to break down some key matchups in this Week 4 inter-conference matchup between the Eagles and Jaguars. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. Follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. If you want to support the channel further, you can go pick up some new gear at GenJag.com. You can also become a channel member. We've got links in the description below. Jaguars at Eagles Sunday, 1 p.m. at the Link in Philadelphia. Eagles are 6.5-point favorites right now. Money has moved to the Jaguars slightly. These two teams have been dominant, is the only word to describe it over the last 2 weeks. Undeniably dominant, both teams have been. So let's jump into some key matchups that are going to help determine the outcome of this Week 4 matchup between Jacksonville and Philadelphia. I got to start it off with Christian Kirk versus Maddox, who is the Eagles' nickel corner, but really the entire Eagles linebacker core and secondary, primarily the safeties and Maddox here. Christian Kirk has been unstoppable so far. Doug Peterson and Press Taylor, Jim Bob Cooter putting together this passing offense. There hasn't been a team that has figured out how to slow down Christian Kirk to this point in the season. A lot of that has to do with Christian Kirk's own ability. His route running, I think, has taken another level or taken another step. He's reached another level with that. He's been catching everything thrown his way. He's been able to play physical ball against some defensive backs when he's had to. But just looking at what he's done. Commanders, Week 1, 6 catches, 117 yards, was all over the place. Making plays close to the line of scrimmage, making plays deep down the field, couldn't be stopped. Versus the Colts in Week 2, 6 catches, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. You saw him on a little jet action get a touchdown from Trevor Lawrence. You also saw him halfback angle out of the backfield, Texas, whatever you want to call it. Jaguars putting him in position to succeed. Then last week against the Chargers, 6 catches, 72 yards, a touchdown. Scored that touchdown against Bryce Callahan, one of the best nickel corners in football. In primary coverage, was able to body Bryce Callahan, create a little bit of separation, and that was all Trevor Lawrence needed to find him in the front corner of the end zone. How do the Eagles go about slowing down Christian Kirk? I'm really not sure at this point how you go about it when Doug Peterson and these guys are moving him all around the formation. They're getting him in looks that you haven't seen before. They're breaking tendencies. It's a really tough assignment for any team right now, and Christian Kirk, as I mentioned, 18 catches for 267 yards and 3 scores so far in 2022. This is a tough assignment for anyone facing the Jaguars right now. Now you've got Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, your 2 edge players for the Jaguars, versus Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, 2 of the very best offensive tackles in the game. Jordan Mailata on the left side, Lane Johnson on the right side. The Jaguars have moved Allen and Walker around a bit. Week 1, Josh Allen primarily aligned on the offensive right side. Last couple weeks, he's been moving more to the offensive left side. So how they deploy them is going to be interesting, certainly. But you've got to get pressure from these 2 players if you're the Jaguars, because Jalen Hurts, with a clean pocket, has been money this year. He's been spreading the ball out. He's been finding A.J. Brown. He's been finding Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal. They've got a lot of weapons. If you give him a clean pocket, he's going to eat you up. You got to muddy the picture, and Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker winning some one-on-ones versus Mailata and Lane Johnson is going to be critical. Two very talented players when you talk about Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. And on the other side, again, two very talented players, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. They don't have to win every one-on-one, but can they make a big play here and there? Can they do it? And that leads me to my next matchup here, Mike Caldwell versus Jalen Hurts. Caldwell is going to have to move Allen and Walker around. You're going to have to run games up front, twists, stunts. You're going to have to get those guys looping into the middle. I think if you're able to create a muddied picture up front, which the Jaguars have done a great job of the last 2 weeks, and on the back end by running a lot of different varied coverages, disguising some certain looks, which again the Jaguars have done the last 2 weeks as well, then you have the potential to slow down Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense that's humming right now with a really good offensive line, good backs, great receivers, a quarterback who is feeling it right now, and he's one of the biggest dual threat quarterbacks in football. I would put him just behind Lamar Jackson when you're talking about somebody who can make an impact with his legs. Mike Caldwell, coaching for the Buccaneers, he has seen how teams and been a part of teams slowing down Jalen Hurts to this point in his career. But Jalen Hurts has the best receivers he's ever had. He has the most confidence he's ever had. He is seeing the field better. He is reading the field better. But again, you've got to create pressure. You've got to get after him, and you've got to muddy the picture. And I think Mike Caldwell should be able to do that. We'll find out on Sunday. Now we've got Devin Lloyd versus Dallas Goedert. I mentioned Dallas Goedert's one of the better tight ends in football at this point in his career. A good receiver, a good blocker. When Devin Lloyd and Dallas Goedert get matched up, is Devin Lloyd able to make the plays like he's made the last couple weeks, picking passes off, creating pass breakups, carrying tight ends that are athletic down the football field, showing off his athleticism, his range, his instincts, his coverage chops? Can Devin Lloyd do that against Dallas Goedert, who might not be a better overall athlete than Gerald Everett, but certainly playing at a higher level than Gerald Everett is right now? So I think that's going to be a really fun matchup. Tim Jones versus himself, and this is a speculative matchup. Zay Jones, Jaguars starting outside receiver, their ex-receiver. He has an ankle injury he's dealing with. The Jaguars rested him yesterday. They want to make sure they can get him to 100%, but they're going to find out more after practice on Friday about whether or not Zay Jones can play. If Zay Jones cannot play with that ankle injury, Tim Jones is the next man up. He had a brilliant preseason and training camp for the Jaguars, has not been called upon to this point on offense for the Jaguars during their 3 regular season games. But if Zay Jones can't play, Tim Jones is the next guy to play X. And why I say Tim Jones versus himself, it's because he has the ability to be an effective receiver in the roles that the Jaguars have been using Zay Jones. Keeping up with the Joneses over here. It's tough stuff. But Zay Jones has been used on a lot of underneath stuff, a lot of intermediate stuff. Tim Jones has shown the ability to do that, and he has the athletic profile, the size, 6'1", almost 210, sure hands to this point, but he's going to have himself mentally prepared for the biggest role of his career, of his very young NFL career. But again, 6'1", 210, he has some similar traits to Zay Jones. He played really well during the preseason and training camp. He's got the ability to go get the job done. If Zay can't play, though, Tim has to get himself mentally prepared to not make mistakes, to not let the moment get too big for him in an environment that is going to be loud, it's going to be raucous, and the entire Jaguars team and both teams are potentially going to have to deal with a key matchup against the weather. Hurricane Ian is making its way up the coast right now, and it looks like it's going to have an impact on this football game Sunday at 1 p.m. You're looking at winds from 15 to 20 miles per hour during the time of the game is the projection right now, and they're also projecting some rain, some sloppiness. So how does that impact the game? Can the Jaguars and the Eagles, who is going to make mistakes that is impacted by the weather? We're going to find out very quickly on Sunday which teams are prepared mentally to deal with this weather, or which team and players are prepared mentally to deal with this weather and the emotion of this football game. Doug Peterson's returning to Philadelphia, where he got the X. Press Taylor is returning to Philadelphia, where he was also part of the reason that Doug Peterson got the X. And he got the X as well. He was fired at the same time as Doug. Then you've also got Mike Caldwell, who spent 8 years of his professional career in Philadelphia in that building. 4 years as a player and 4 years as a coach. I think this game is going to be emotional on both sides. I know both sides are trying to downplay it, but who can harness that emotion in a positive manner? So far, both teams have done a great job of doing that so far in 2022. That is going to do it. Again, we're watching Christian Kirk versus the Eagles secondary, Avonte Maddox, those linebackers, safeties. How do they match up with Christian Kirk? Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker versus the Eagles offensive tackles, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. Mike Caldwell versus Jalen Hurts. Can he muddy the picture? Can he make it to where Jalen Hurts is uncomfortable back there? And of course, you got to corral Hurts when he escapes the pocket, because that is his trump card. When things aren't going well, he can escape the pocket. Mike Caldwell has done a good job on 2 separate occasions corralling Jalen Hurts when he was a linebackers coach for the Buccaneers. Can they do it again this game? I've got Devin Lloyd versus Dallas Goedert. Tim Jones versus himself if he is called upon, if Zay Jones can't go. And then we've got weather versus everyone. We're going to see how it all plays out. That will do it. What a contest. I cannot wait for it. Stay tuned for bold predictions. Tomorrow we will predict the final outcome of this game along with a couple other things. You can follow myself on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. Follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Please like and subscribe on YouTube if you have not already, and support the channel further. You can go pick up a new hat, a new shirt, genjag.com. You can become a member of the channel. We've got links in the description below. Happy Friday, Duval.